Excellent. Yeah, let's go in it today. Let's go into it. And if you can, Elder Lawyer, let's start off with the Hebrew Credo, the Shema.
Yes, sir. Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Achad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God. Now, let me put this out there real quick, brothers and sisters, because I mentioned the fact that Christ is also building an ark. He's building a spiritual ark comparable to the days of Noah. And it's time for us to focus on making sure our election is sure, getting on that refuge. The whole world is in confusion, delusion, and denial right now. And the Bible says even the righteous will scarcely be saved. And that's those who are doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
That's those who are, just on point, right? The righteous will scarcely be saved. So it's time to start thinking more so towards, listen, those who see as you see. Why? Those who don't believe, the antagonist, those who are always discouraging you when you try to attempt in helping them, those who lash back at you for trying to help them. Folks, you're going to have to take a Christ stance. Why? Because we are about to be in a world filled with crabs in a bucket. And the only thing they're going to remember about you is the fact that you told them you had a plan. And in the last moment, they're going to come not to participate and help you. They're coming at your door to destroy and take what you have.
Can I help you?
The same people you think that are down with you, your family, or others that are next to you that you've been talking to,
if y'all are out here,
right, who've been rejecting you.
Scare people, I think you picked
At the same time, they've been rejecting you, folks. They have been what? They've been logging detailed information that you
collapse.
Okay? So
have
if y'all
given
wanna get crazy, we can get crazy.
So when the hell breaks, it's not going to be about Christ and prophecy and the fact that you were trying to help them get on board this ark. More so, it's going to be about the information you gave them concerning what you got and the plan that you'll be able to execute when the chaos ensues. That's the only thing they'll remember concerning your conversation. Right?
Citizens of America.
And this is why, as shepherds, as those who have began to, I would say, shout from the watchtower. Every week I try to drop something on Patreon and all that, and I be listening to what people are doing and hearing what people are saying. Every time I talk about the culture shock and what it takes to operate outside the country, I be seeing when people are saying, and they have their mind hell bent on, well, suppose we can do it this way, or suppose I can do it that way, because I was talking about Africa and all these things.
Okay.
Folks, you have to realize we've been there and we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know?
And when people are constantly using our teachings, but still operating contrary to it, eventually they will be against us, because whatever they try to do will fail. It'll fail, and they'll harm others while failing, and then they'll come to us for refuge or come to us, to try to help them out of what we warned them not to do. It's time for people to get on board, and if you don't know, follow. Okay? And I'm speaking, I'm noticing every time I break down some of the hangups with going into these other places. There's always, well, we can do this over in Africa. No, you can't. No, you can't. Africa is trying to come to where you are. And because they have already dismantled it through neocolonialism.
In the past 3 years, more than 10,000 men, women and children have died trying to cross this stretch of water. Migrants. People. Each one had a story, a hope, a dream. Over just 6 days, we'll witness the intensity of the rescue attempts, the helplessness of the migrants, and the hopelessness of the effort to end the crisis.
Keep breathing. Come on. Come on.
This is what death and survival looks like.
You will go over there, you'll get finessed, you'll get stolen from, okay? And even the government of Africa isn't going to accept you coming over unless you can prove you got some money to benefit them. So it's time for brothers and sisters to get on board to be led. Okay? To be led. You don't know what you don't know. And the hustlers and all these others that are waiting over in these other countries are banking on you not knowing what you don't know. There's so many charlatans, so many so-called charlatans out there on the outside who's using fleeing Babylon as a come up. And once you get over there and they take your little money, you're out there by yourselves with no help. So I'm going to say it as nice as I can. If you trust what the Most High have done in this ministry, find your part within this ministry to work and operate in your position. If you work on the outside of us, we cannot help you. Let me put that out there, first and foremost. Don't try to say, well, I did all these things and all these others, and then try to get us on board later. We don't operate like that. Okay? Don't try to do something and go before us because it's anti-scripture. I'm going to prove that. And then try to come to us later saying, okay, this is what I did. Are you on board with it? And the answer will be heads to the no. Now, when it comes to your family members and others who've been rejecting this truth, and one thing that's good about this, Elder Lawyer, I'm going to tell you what's good about this. All the charlatans, the conscious community, all those fleecers of our people will soon come to an end.
That's right.
Because they don't have any answers. Their whole dialogue is what? Questions. And when this hell come, when this hell we see come knocking at their door, literally, they'll have no answers because the only God, the God of Israel, and the only book that they could actually get some understanding to what's actually going on prophetically, this is the book they deny. So if there's a saving grace through all of this, all of these so-called non-believers are going to be run over and destroyed. That's the saving grace in this. Elder Lawyer, let's get for those who don't believe real quick, because I'm at the point where, and you got to be there too, folks. I'm not going to try to force someone to save themselves.
Right.
We're not in it for that. We're servants. We're mouthpieces with the word of God. That's it. I am not going to try to force someone to save themselves. We can scarcely save ourselves. So let's deal with the dynamic, because the hell is here. I'm about to break it down. Elder Lawyer, real quick, let's go to the Bible, if you may.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get John 3:18. Let's read that real quick.
Yes, sir. St. John 3:18. He that believeth on him is not condemned.
1 second here. 1 second, Elder Lawyer. Thank you. All right, read that again.
Yes, sir. St. John 3:18.
Yes.
He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
So those around you, brothers and sisters, who deny what you've been bringing, warning people to come and get on board with this book, follow the commandments, he that don't believe is condemned already. You are talking to people who have already sealed their fate. They're dead men walking. They're dead women walking. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already. You can talk to you blue in the face to a person, break it down, connect all the dots, folks, and it's like the Charlie Brown talk. You're going want. That's what's happening. They're looking at you like you crazy. You can break it down and bring proof, and it's as if a wall is between you and that person. And you know what? A wall very well may be there. That can be an angel in between, a spirit in between, stopping them from understanding. Why? Because you don't know the evil these people are operating with in their own delusion, in your absence. So they're condemned because of their lifestyle. They're not trying to hear what's right. And you're sitting there trying to divulge information, not realizing the information you're giving them one day will be used to take what you got and to bring you down to where they are. Here's the reality. Noah prophesied for 120 years.
Silence of an infinite darkness. But the breath of the Creator fluttered against the face of the void, whispering, "Let there be light." And light was. And it was good. The first day. And then the formless light began to take on substance and shape. The second day. And our world was born. Our beautiful, fragile home. And a great warming light nurtured its days. And a lesser light ruled the nights. And there was evening and morning. Another day. And the waters of the world gathered together. And in their midst emerged dry land. Another day passed. And the ground put forth the growing things, a thick blanket of green stretching across all creation. And the waters, too, teemed with life. Great creatures of the deep that are no more. Vast multitudes of fish, some of which may still swim beneath these seas. And soon, the sky was streaming with birds. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. Now the whole world was full of living beings, everything that creeps. And the Creator made man, and by his side woman, father and mother of us all. He gave them a choice. Follow the temptation of darkness, or hold on to the blessing of light. But they ate from the forbidden fruit. Their innocence is extinguished. And so for the 10 generations since Adam, sin has walked within us. Brother against brother. Nation against nation. Man against creation. We murdered each other.
And when he got on that ark, he got shut in. He was shut in that ark. It was his position to warn them so that they could get some wood and they could get some hammers, whatever they had, the tools back then, and see what he was doing and cut down trees to build their own ark, if they had any sense. Or to help him do his so that he can now work on helping them do theirs. But it tell you in the book of Jasher that they was making fun of him the whole time. How can you sit there? How can you sit there and build a boat on dry ground in the middle of nowhere? They were mocking him, laughing at him. Like the streams are 100 miles away. What are you doing? 50 miles away, kilometers away. What are you doing? They were laughing at him. Who builds a boat in the center of nowhere? They laughed at him. And he says, the God of our forefathers will reign on this earth. It was like, rain? What's that? Don't forget, before the flood, folks, the dew would come down to water all of the vegetation of the earth. It's like Noah has lost his mind. It's equivalent to, that's an equivalent to your next door neighbors, or the people that are close to you who see you every day. They know your sound, but they think you're a little weird. This is how they were viewing Noah. When you're not the one delusional, they are. But check it out. It tell you in the book of Jasher, that's not a man, it's called the book of the upright ones. It tells us that when Noah was shut up in the ark, all the people he was prophesying to banged on the door. We're losing our children. We're losing our family. They were floating on stuff. And they came to knock on the ark. And Noah said, I'm sorry. I told you for years this would come. I cannot open up the door. Angels have shut me in. Angels, I've told you. You could have done what I did. And if they turn around and say, well, you know what, Noah, you're right, I didn't listen. Thank you for caring about us all this time. Thank you for prophesying. And it's on me for not listening. You think that was their response? No, folks, it was the survival of the fittest. They went to where there was tools and stuff stored. Shovels, picks, all types of stuff. Came back to the ark while the water was rising. And began they begun to knock on the ark to break it open, so to kill Noah, knowing that if the door is open, they think it's for refuge. But if you open the door, the water comes in and kill those who actually prepare. Folks, that's what's coming. People are running their mouths, telling everybody what's going on. People who don't care about anything other than information that can benefit them in a time of crisis. So just because you know, be careful what you say and who you say it around. Okay? You're going to have to walk like what? Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You're going to have to walk with your mouth shut. And when the opportunity presents itself, right? Then you guide them to be led. Because someone somewhere is taking tabs on everything you're saying. You think the people who didn't know better during the pandemic, you think they didn't take inventory of what you said and what choices you made to see how it ended out for you, opposed to those who was listening to the talking heads? You think they don't see that? So they know you know something, but they're not willing to get 2 feet in like you have 2 feet in. So I'm dropping it. As in the days of Noah, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the book of Matthew. This is Christ himself speaking. Let's go to Matthew, the 24th chapter.
All right. Say Matthew 24 and 36.
24, verse 36. Read it.
Yes, sir. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. No, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only.
So Christ said, listen, no one knows the day or the hour Christ will return. Right? No one knows. He doesn't even know. The Father knows only. So in that day, the Most High will tap Christ and say, son, it's time to finish it. Only the Father knows. He kept that in himself. He didn't even tell Christ. That's more proof Christ is the Son of God and is not the Father. Okay. But my Father only. Read.
37. But as the days of Noe were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
It's going to be the same way. And look at what's going on throughout the earth right now. Folks, they have intentionally created systematically broken governments throughout the earth to control people financially. So to use them as weapons in the days of Noah against first world countries. It's all strategic. Just imagine devaluing other people's finances to a degree where their government breaks and are dependent on the New World Order's government. Think about that. Only to be so destitute that when the doors open in another country, these same people who were systematically destroyed can now be used as social mercenaries to destroy you in the major cities. Listen to what I'm showing you today. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So if you don't know about the Bible or believe in the Bible, you have no idea what you're seeing right now. You have to understand the stories of Noah to be able to relate to the confusion and chaos that most can't understand. But I understand it clearly. It happened before.
Zombie epidemic and alien encounters continue.
And those who are down with the Almighty, with God in Christ, those who are under God's protection and law, were guided and protected. But guess what? The protection didn't come with them just sitting around praising Jesus and praising God. Noah had to put nail in, he had to put hammer to nail. Because faith without works is dead. So you're not just going to believe and be saved. He had to build something. Okay? You think the Most High could have had the angels just form a ship or refuge? It was the angels who built the pyramids, you see. It wasn't people. It tell you in Enoch that they were made to bound the fallen angels, the gods, some of the gods of this world who came down during the time of Jared. Enoch was translated into the heavens to get the judgment on these same fallen ones. Okay? So listen to what we're showing you here. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Read.
38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Until the day Noah entered into the ark. Folks, everyone was having a good time. Society was going on as normal. And then one day it rained. They were like, what's this? And then it rained. And then it rained. There was no need at that time to build what? To build houses which were flood proof. There was no need to build an infrastructure to protect others from water. Right? For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in the marriage. Now, the Most High isn't against marriage. So this is talking about what? This is talking about the Nephilim. The offspring of the Nephilim that came from those who came from out there and the daughters of Cain. What? That's right. Sinful marriage. Now you see in the very last days, what are they doing today? What are they doing today? The first institution of God was marriage on earth between man and woman, which is the image of God in the heavens. Male and female made he them, which is the image of God. And now they have legalized sinful marriage. See, but if you don't know what happened back then, you'll be confused to what your children are learning now. Transgenderism. You think that's something new? Well, no. When the celestials came and dealt with the daughters of Cain, a lot of their children came out hermaphrodite, male and female sex organs. Huh? See, we can make sense of all of this. It happened before. Huh? Marrying. So the Most High loved marriage. So we know that this marriage Christ is talking about isn't the marriage the Most High intended for us. It's speaking of when the sons of God came down and dealt with the daughters of men and saw that they were fair. And there were giants in the earth in those days. And at that time, the judges and others got the technology to begin to splice animals, amphibious water creatures with land cattle, dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus Rex, all these evil particular animals that scientists have hid from mankind, claiming they were prehistoric, claiming they were before the time of Adam when they came after Adam. And if the Most High didn't destroy those animals, they would have consumed all the cattle. And guess what? The world would have been under a famine. They would have killed all the cattle like they're seeking to destroy all the cattle in our current time. There's nothing new under the sun. Y'all doing a great job. We're at 2,500. I need y'all to hit the like button because I'm taking this from a different angle like never before. I need another 500 up in there. Come on now. For as in the days they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day what?
That Noe entered into the ark.
Read.
And knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
And took them away. See? So took them away. So when you see those bogus movies Left Behind where they claim the righteous are taken, they done flipped the script. The evil are taken. The righteous are left. The evil is taken. So you got these Jesuits who came up with a new theory of the rapture and flipped the script to make you think those who disappear and are no longer here were the righteous. When those who were taken away were the wicked. Those who refused to prepare. Read.
And knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Therefore, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. What we are witnessing are the prophecies that will lead to the Son of Man, Christ himself. That's right, entering this realm to save those who choose righteousness, the laws, statutes, and commandments. The rest, folks, the rest will and are still in their own fate. You can't, I can't save them.
That's right.
That's the reality. Christ saves. He used us as mouthpieces. Go out and do what? Preach the gospel throughout the four corners of the earth to all nations. And when this gospel goes throughout all the earth, when every man and woman throughout generations have had an opportunity to choose this side, then the end shall come. Folks, this is how you know the Christian church never had the true ministry. Because what? There's there's a church which have spawned out of the Catholic Church everywhere. Everywhere. They have set their foot on every shore with their so-called ministry, and yet we're still here. So what was Christ speaking of when he says this gospel of the kingdom must be preached throughout the whole earth, then the end shall come? That's right, the gospel you're hearing right now, that the children of Israel has awakened. This wasn't taught throughout the whole earth. Us identifying as the people of the book and showing forth that all the indigenous people who were conquered by Rome are and were in fact the lost tribes of Israel, the people of the earth never heard that gospel. Right? So now we're going to make sense of this in our lesson when the walls of Babylon come falling down. Right? Picking up from last broadcast, Wednesday, we were discussing what? We were discussing Klaus Schwab,
this revolution is characterized
the founder
by the fight
of what?
robots against
The World
human beings.
Economic Forum.
And we will win.
You want to know what's going on? Who's really running
Professor
things?
Klaus Schwab
You
was
must
born in
ignore all you
1938
hearing from the
in
politicians
Ravensburg, Germany, where Nazi
and
crimes
listen
against humanity were committed.
to
His
Klaus
father, Eugene
Schwab.
Wilhelm Schwab,
He's a
was the
German
managing director
Jew.
of Escher Weiss Ravensburg, a company that used slave labor
And it
to
falls
manufacture
right
weapons of
into
war
prophecy.
for
Everything the
Third
Most
Reich.
High said would happen in the earth,
While Klaus's
on the
father was
left-hand
at the helm,
side,
the Nazi
they
Party
are
awarded Escher Weiss
executing it.
Ravensburg the title of National Socialist Model
Let
Company.
me show something, Elder Lawyer, if
Years
you
later,
may.
Klaus Schwab joined the board of
Yes,
directors at Escher Weiss Ravensburg, where he played a key role in the development of South Africa's nuclear weapons program during the
Right.
darkest years of the racist apartheid regime. Today, Klaus Schwab is the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum.
If you'd like to meet the people who are supposed to repair the state of the world, or give a piece of your mind to the bankers who helped get us into this
Right.
mess, we can tell you where to
I
find
want to
the
show y'all
line.
something.
The World Economic Forum.
Founded in 1971, the World Economic Forum is an international private organization
1 second.
which receives billions of tax-free dollars from its members and their global enterprises. Every year, the WEF brings together its members with world leaders, big pharma executives, tech titans, Hollywood celebrities, media personalities, and internet influencers to meet in the secluded mountains.
Let me get this real
of
quick.
Davos,
Hit the like
Switzerland.
button, folks.
It is a tiny town folded into the Swiss Alps, a village where you could bump into Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, the head of Google, and the Queen of Jordan.
Now, there's a
all
thing,
in
brothers and
one
sisters,
place.
called
A lot of
lesser
reporters cover
magic
the forum, but
under
few
these
get inside.
occultists, like the man I'm going to show you in a couple of
It
moments.
turns out there are two
Right? They can no
Davoses,
longer
one
hide
you
who
see
they are.
and one you
So
don't.
now there's no
After
need
hours,
in
there are
faking it
hundreds of
anymore.
private parties where deals are done. People who
There's
can't
no
be
need
seen
in
together
playing
in public
righteous before the
can meet
people.
here.
At the same time dismantling and destroying everything. Now that our people began to identify as Israel, the synagogue of Satan no longer have to hide their intentions against the world and us.
You here in this room.
Folks,
Klaus
there's a
Schwab,
thing
the
they
founder
call
of the WEF,
lesser
is
magic
particularly upfront and even proud of his ability to shape
under
and
the elite
influence
groups.
world politics.
Let me break down this for you real quick.
The community of global shapers
Lesser
as a means,
magic.
as a force
Right?
to shape our common
Let's
future.
talk
And
about
of
it.
course, their Global Young Leaders program
Right?
is a grooming ground so that when they ultimately infiltrate
First of all, the
cabinets,
occultists who rule the earth
Cabinets.
they will likely
are
tend
liars.
to govern a certain way.
Nobody will be
Right?
safe if not
But in order
everybody
for
is
them
vaccinated.
The names
these
of the
Satanists,
countries he mentioned
in order
ended
for
up
them
being
to
some of the
execute
most
their
dystopian
plan,
and authoritative during this pandemic.
there must be some level of complicity from those they're seeking to destroy.
Sebastian Kurz, Mauricio
So to
Macri,
not be
Mark
directly
Zuckerberg,
blamed
Jack Ma,
and
Gavin
judged
Newsom, Stefan Van
in the day
Zyl,
of judgment.
Chelsea Clinton, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sanjay
Understand
Gupta,
this,
Dr.
folks.
Leanna Wen,
So there's a rule of
Alexander and
engagement
Jonathan
because
Soros,
these
George
elites
Soros, the
and
son,
evildoers
several of the
understand
Rothschilds.
that God
And of
is
course,
real and there will be a judgment.
Such a world better than
But what they use is lesser magic. The lesser magic is, if they can convince you to voluntarily do it, then it absolves them of the judgment.
Which he positioned as
They can
the
just tell you
solution
it's
to
safe.
the world's most urgent issues.
Everything is safe.
The dark reality of Schwab's agenda
Not
is
forcing you to
detailed
do
in his
anything.
best-selling book,
And if some
COVID-19,
harm comes
The Great
from your
Reset.
choices,
His end-game mission is to
it was your
replace
choice.
independent governance
And they
with
are
top-down
absolved from that
control,
particular
one
judgment
world
if
government,
many people
and
die.
a central bank-controlled digital currency.
That's lesser magic,
When they say you'll be happy,
right?
what
Now
they
let's
mean
talk
is
about it
you'll
real
be
quick.
enslaved. That's why they're
Lesser
talking about a
magic.
great reset. That's why they're talking about introducing this
Lesser magic
quasi-communist,
also referred to
quasi-socialist
as everyday
agenda. They
or
know
situational
we've run the
magic.
course
Let me
where
get
we
it here.
cannot continue down the
let you
path
see this
of
here.
the
Hold on.
ever-increasing indebtedness, because we have a generation that quite literally
do it
cannot
like this
afford
here.
to buy a house.
Millions of Americans are priced out of buying a
I
home.
want to make sure you all
And
can
so
see
it's
this.
easy to tell that generation,
Right?
we're going to forgive your college debt, student debt.
Okay,
and
you
set
all
your
can see that,
expectations
right?
lower. You're going to rent forever. We're going
Now,
to celebrate
watch
the
how I
tiny
bring
house
this
movement.
all
We're gonna
around.
do all of these
All the way
things
around.
which sound cool because they're shaping
Lesser magic also
our
referred
narrative so that we
referred
become
as
capable of
everyday
expecting less.
or situational
What
magic.
we need to do is not
Is the practice of manipulation by means of applied psychology. See? So they must psych you into destroying yourself. Here's an example. These people are habitual liars. Right? They'll promise all these things that they'll do for you. Right? But now if you go and bring forth your spirit into their occult electoral system, and you use your hand to vote, and your conscience and your spirit to vote for them, then what you're saying is you are in agreement with anything that happens, including them destroying you. See? So you cannot come back later and say, well, why are you doing this and why are you doing that?
I will take care of you.
Because you have now participated.
You're now under my control.
Now you're
Go
culpable.
to 47 West 13th
And
Street.
they are absolved through the lesser
If the
magic.
scientist doesn't comply,
There's no judgment on them.
You must kill her.
Because why? You are their
Sarah.
constituents.
I always get what I
And they
want.
represent the people. So
I
anything
have you
they
under my
do
control. Don't
falls on those people.
I've been doing what
Good
you
or
asked me to do
bad.
since day one.
We have a great opportunity at this moment, like we had after World War II, to create this global reset, to have in some way a new beginning in our global cooperation, in globalization, in managing our global affairs. First, we deeply believe in the power of the collaborative efforts of all stakeholders of global societies. If we want to address the global challenges, governments have a leading role, governments have a leading role, governments have a leading role.
Aujourd'hui, au bout de ça, on parle de puces qu'on pourra s'implanter. Ce sera quand ça?
Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans nos topos. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
On appelle quelqu'un, on n'a même plus le réflexe de devoir prendre un appareil, ça se fait naturellement. La technique continue le corps.
Oui, vous parlez, vous dites, je veux maintenant être connecté avec n'importe qui. Et d'abord, vous avez les robots personnalisés. Et j'ai lu que M. Zuckerberg a prédit qu'à la fin de l'année, il va avoir son robot, son butler personnalisé qui est à sa disposition.
Donc, comme dans Downton Abbey, on aura son butler personnel, son serviteur, son esclave.
Oui, mais il y a une différence. C'est un serviteur qui, avec l'intelligence artificielle, apprend. Et qui n'est pas seulement votre assistant pour des travaux manuels, qui peut vraiment être un partenaire intellectuel de vous.
And they represent the people. So anything they do falls on those people, good or bad.
Since day one.
See?
Destroyed my life.
I haven't destroyed it yet, Sarah. There are things I could do. To your mother.
All commander, she died.
People like you build monsters.
Situational magic is the practice of manipulation by means of applied psychology. LaVey is a Satanist, wrote that a key concept in lesser magic is the command look, which can be accomplished by utilizing elements of sex. You notice that they made the constituency who control our communities. They have severed them away as leaders of the community based on their sexual preferences and lifestyles.
Yeah, it's probably better that the video's up. The Black Singles app
because what?
is urging users to
Certain
get their
acts
COVID-19 vaccination.
brings in
Drew
dark
Brown, Manny
forces.
Fresh, and Mia X turning the rap classic Back That
Okay,
Thing Up.
it's part of their
into
lesser
Vax
magic.
That
They
Thing
must
Up.
use sex.
The aim is to
They've
entertain and
weaponized
encourage
sex.
more Black young adults to get vaccinated. Entertaining,
Sentiment
it
of
certainly
wonder.
is, and hopefully,
in addition of the utilization of looks, body language, scents, color, patterns, and odor. LaVey wrote that the terms fascination and glamour have origins of the world of coercive magic. That's right, folks. The Kardashians, anyone? The word fascination comes with the Latin word fascinare, which means to cast a spell upon. See? This system encourages a form of manipulative role play. You notice everyone that's under the system, under the programming, is playing some type of role, operating as a caricature based on what they've learned on Instagram or learned on looking at the internet, because they have no unique personality of themselves. Everyone has become an archetype. Everyone has become a child of the wizard. Wherein the practitioner may alter several elements of their physical appearance in order to aid in seducing, bewitching, and an object of desire. Right? Now check this out. Lesser magic. Dyrendal referred to LaVey's technique as Irving Goffman meets William Mortensen, drawing insights from psychology, biology, sociology, and that's why I say, brothers and sisters, y'all have to watch those who went to college under psychology, biology, and sociology. These are the manipulators. These are the manipulators. Peterson noted that lesser magic combines occult and rejected sciences of body analysis and temperaments. Now, what am I saying here? The whole world is under a spell. I don't have to tell you that. The majority of people you know
It's called Soji.
are under
Sexual
Satan's vibration,
orientation and gender identification.
right? And have
A curriculum
rejected
that teaches public school students across
rejected
Canada to
the
celebrate
messages coming
homosexual
directly from the
lifestyle,
Most High,
and that gender
so
is
to
fluid.
so that they could
In other
they could
words,
actually
your gender is not
take
dependent on what
refuge
parts you were born with, but
if they
rather what
knew
you feel like
what was coming.
in the moment.
People that are
Think
boys,
about
people
this,
that
folks.
Are girls. There are people
They're under the
whose
signal.
gender
Everyone
might
can
be a
see
little bit
that
of
something
both,
is wrong, that the world is
might
going
even be
mad,
neither.
and they know
Lessons
something is
include
coming,
books
but
about
yet
transgender children
are
such
stuck
as
under the
10,000
delusion.
Dresses, and songs like the
It's the
Rainbow
lesser
Song.
magic. There's only two masters. Either they're with you or they're being controlled by the other side.
The Soji
It's time for us to
curriculum started in
separate
British
ourselves
Columbia in 2016
spiritually first.
and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
It's called lesser magic. They must tell you what they're going to do before they do it, using sociology, biology, right? You see the healthcare system as ramped up. You see mental health, they talk about mental health, psychology have ramped up. The forms of control under lesser magic has been ramped up.
Whoa, what is this? Where's the
Right?
Never met the quota. My units are up from last
And the people are under delusion.
Next. That's a joke, right?
Now,
Next.
Wednesday, Elder Lawyer, we're going to go straight through. Wednesday, if you remember, I showed you this guy. Wednesday, I showed this guy with Trump. Right? Klaus Schwab.
We look forward to being here. Klaus has done a fantastic job. And again, we're meeting with the biggest companies in the world, the biggest businesses in the world, and world leaders, all for the benefit of the United States.
And this gentleman you know has done a great job.
Well, I'm a big believer in the environment.
Let's go back to 2016. The World Economic Forum, head by the same German Jew by the name of Klaus Schwab.
Is characterized by the fight.
What did he say in 2016? Hopes in Havana. A world without borders. And oil's decade of debt. In hopes of making a world without borders. Right? So to stress the citizenry and inseminate first world countries into a new found way of living. 2016, they was talking about, right, a world without borders. In 2016. This was the plan. They go to Davos each year. It used to be Bilderberg, and discuss the next plan for the world. I'm going to show you where they're going with this, as in the days of Noah. Donald Trump, the front runner for the Republican presidential nomination, has questioned the U.S. role in NATO and suggested that that Washington could no longer afford to maintain the commitment to the 28-member military alliance. Y'all remember that? And everyone thought that, okay, Trump is pro-America, anti-NATO. So not like any other country, you just can't come into America with a NATO army.
The Army and Air Force are looking to immigrants to overcome recruiting shortfalls. They've ramped up their marketing, including on social media, to entice legal immigrants to enlist. They're also using recruiters with similar backgrounds to appeal to potential recruits. But the biggest draw for migrants is the promise of a fast track to citizenship, plus jobs and education benefits. Both the Army and the Air Force have said they will not meet their recruiting goals this year.
The number of migrants
Well, you can come in with the NATO Army.
Unprecedented. Last year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection recorded 2.5 million
they are without
instances
uniform.
of detaining or turning away people attempting to cross
Look
into
at what
the
I'm showing
United
y'all
States
here.
from Mexico. So
How
what's
the walls
fastest
of Babylon
growing
come
group
falling
among
down.
Chinese migrants. Yes, you heard that
They already,
right. Chinese.
the plan in
We saw
2016 and
large groups,
before that
including many from the middle class,
was a world
come
without
through a
walls or
4-foot
borders,
gap at the end of a border fence
which actually
60 miles
destroys
east of San Diego.
what?
The illegal
The
entryway is a
sanctity,
new route
sovereignty,
for
and
those hoping to
protection
live in
of a
America.
country. Right?
Just after sunrise, we saw the first group of migrants make their way from Mexico.
Check this
through
out.
A gap between the 30-foot steel
So where
border
would they get
fence
this
and
money?
rocks. Ducking under a bit of razor
Money
wire and into the United
to pay
States.
all of these lavish hotels and others who are letting
We were
the
surprised
poor,
to see the number of people
as
coming
well
through from
as the
China,
criminal
nearly
element
7,000 miles away.
of these so-called other countries
Careful, watch.
into America.
Tonight, another major U.S. city, San Diego, buckling as it grapples with a growing number of migrants. Border
This was
Patrol
just recorded
dropping
a couple
off
of days
hundreds
ago.
of people at local bus stops from as far away as China and as close as Mexico.
Colombia.
A bus full of migrants
Volunteers
just
were told
arrived.
to expect more than 350 street releases in the metro area on Friday alone.
I wanted to see what was happening down here. I know that they're going to be increasing the number of migrant drop-offs to about 1,000 a day, and that concerns us, especially considering the county has closed their program.
Now, this is what I want to show you, folks. A lot of Ukrainians and East Europeans,
Since October, it offered a safe
folks,
place
they
to
have the
charge shuttle
contract
for many
as
continue their
vendors.
travels. But late last
So
week,
you got
that
foreigners
funding dried up,
who are
putting
heading
the
up a
burden
lot
on
of these
patchwork
particular
remaining
initiatives
nonprofits. Many of those relying
and are
on the
being paid to
nonprofits'
come
help,
in,
fleeing political chaos and crime.
folks, and head up and direct this initiative.
In a statement to NBC, Customs and Border Patrol said in part that, quote, this situation is the latest example of the pressing need for Congress to provide additional resources and take legislative action.
Let me show y'all something. Look at the guy. Look at the guy processing the people. Look at his height. Eastern European. He's the one processing these people. Fair use, educational purposes only. Now you have a guy right here asking what the Hades is going on. Well, unfortunate for you, sir. This is how the North American Indians were looking from the mountains when you began to come in to a country.
That's right.
So here's the reality of the matter. You reap what you sow, and what
Here
goes
they
around
come.
comes around. I know
Right
you're
here,
looking at it
right
like
now.
something foreign is going on.
Full of migrants.
But imagine
Right here,
what
right
our
now.
brothers and sisters, the Beliqua Taino Indians of Puerto Rico,
Right, here we go.
the Issacharites of Mexico,
Right here, right
the
now.
Gadites of North America. Imagine them looking through the woods, seeing a bunch of foreigners come in to engage and take their paradise. So I'm just putting it out there, folks. I'm not on either side of this. I'm on the Most High side. Because there's a judgment coming to all. And the Bible states, that's why I broke this down, when the walls of Babylon come falling down. When you sit around and our people are saying we're suffering, you even have our people saying, well, listen, we need reparations. You're still living off of the chattel slavery with the corporations you set up on the backs, blood, sweat, and tears and death of our people. And you'll come and say, well, I didn't enslave anyone. You'll come and say, well, I wasn't here when that happened, but yet the freedom that's afforded you is an extension from those who enslaved us. The corporation of America owes us. But instead of you getting on the side of righteousness and saying, you know what, maybe we can walk this back a little bit. If we do what's right by the people we've enslaved. Maybe this God who's allowing this to happen won't allow what happened to the indigenous people to happen to us. Right? So he's concerned. And he should be. Okay? He should be.
Folks. This is the Ramana Inn in San Diego, Mission Valley. Bus full of migrants have just arrived.
So getting off him and going to the next one. What are we experiencing right now? They were talking about a world without borders a long time ago. Who's being paid? Who's financing this? And what is the end game? And I'm going to tell you, those who not down with the Most High isn't going to make it through the fourth industrial revolution. What is that? Folks, the first phase of the Fourth Reich, let me put it that way. The first phase was to do what? Allow an event to happen so that there could be room for those who they're seeking to come in and comply with the Fourth Reich. So something had to happen that could conveniently move a lot of people out of the way who were under the control of lesser magic.
If you had put that money into an S&P 500 and reinvested the dividends, you'd come up with something like $17 billion.
And those who believed in the Bible and God said, listen,
you're not going to get
they're liars.
These are highly effective.
And you had other people tell me, well, what about my job?
Don't get sick.
What about my career?
Really good against
what about my rent?
Is not just protecting themselves, but reducing their transmission to other people and allowing society to get back to normal.
Get your shot, and when you're due for your second, get your second.
A key goal is to stop the transmission, to get the immunity levels up so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
People are dropping like flies from heart attacks right now. So let's drop this real quick. And I don't hear the conscious community. I don't hear the Muslims. I don't hear the Christians. I don't hear no one out there who claim they know what's going on with the understanding to be able to quantify all of what's happening right now. The only thing these people will be able to do at the end of it is the same thing those on the outside of the ark did when Noah was shut in. The most you can do after participating in your own demise is complain. Complain, and eventually the army. Trying to stay guarded here. What is the Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab? You ubiquitous mobile supercomputing intelligent robots
in the past few decades. Seeing how the past has unfolded,
is the
I was
future.
curious about what the next 30 years
You know what that means?
So I did a little digging.
More
into what
robots,
life might look
less
like
people.
in 2050 for us. Let's take a look.
Self-driving cars.
Nanotechnology. First, let's take
Right.
a look at nanotechnology. Transportation. Something
Your man
that we may
Elon
have
Musk.
access to is transportation. In 2050, transportation
Don't buy
will have
into the
immensely
fact
changed.
that
With
he's some type of
experimentation
freedom
focused on
fighter
self-driving cars
under
already
conservative
underway from car
ideology.
manufacturers such as Tesla, it is not much of a stretch to believe
Okay,
that
don't
by
buy into
2050, the technology for fully automated
Self-driving
vehicles
cars.
will exist. Some notable
Neuro
we go from the
tech-
extinction of
technological
phones to
brain
eradication of death.
enhancements.
Well, by 2050, the finality of death may be a
Genetic
thing of the past.
editing.
With the brain connected to a
And a lot of that
computer through
genetic
BCI
editing
technology, the
started
information stored in our
years
brains
ago
can be transferred into a hard disk
when
like
people
computer
began
files.
to
That means the
do what
data,
they needed to
including
do
memories, can be retrieved
to
and
keep
uploaded
themselves
into another
safe.
being, maybe a more advanced humanoid robot.
Those
This way,
who
the best minds in history will be
survive
preserved,
the
able to
genetic
continue
change
working
through
on
the
innovations.
bio
Another
lesser
improvement to
magic.
consider in the medical field is
Now
that
their
serious
bodies
diseases
are
like
being
cancer
morphed
will be
into
cured.
something
The
to
only
receive
downside to this development
the
is that
next
every new technology is very
technology.
expensive when it first comes
And that
out.
technology
so the rest of us may not have access
is
to
written
this
in
literally
scripture.
life-saving technology for a while. Over the years, scientists have made
So
exciting
people
developments
are
and
getting
discovered
genetic
numerous
changes
innovative
by what?
applications for nanotechnology.
Accepting
As it
something
stands, nanotechnology
into
has
their
the potential
biology,
to
into
change
their
life as we
bodies,
know it. Experts
without
in
understanding what it
believe
is.
that nanobots will, in the future, be fitted into
lesser
our
magic.
brains to connect us to the virtual world more readily and faster.
It might
With
be
the use of
exactly what
brain-computer
they're telling
interface
you it is,
technology,
right?
The mind and computer
You can trust
will
them.
be one, making humans very powerful beings
Genetic
with access
editing.
to endless information and
The
solutions to
evidence
artificial
of dramatic
intelligence.
change is all
Something that
around
may be
us.
available for everyone
And it's
is
happening
artificial
at an
intelligence.
exponential
Already more
speed.
advanced than most of the innovations
Professor
mentioned here, the development
Klaus
of
Schwab,
artificial intelligence will only
the German
get better
Jew,
through the years. Experts
founder
in the field
and
believe
executive
that AI will
chairman
surpass the processing power of
of the
living
World
brains.
Economic
That
Forum
wouldn't be
has
scary
been
if
at
it
the
didn't
center
open
of
the
global
door to the
affairs
apocalypse.
for
Luckily,
over
scientists still
4
have to figure out how to impart
decades.
all the important human
He is
values into
convinced that
AI
we are
before
at
it
the
can become
beginning
a
of
part
a
our
revolution
everyday life. But
that is
the rise of AI
fundamentally
will, of course,
changing
change face of
the way we live.
We are bored.
Work and relate to one another, which he explores in his new book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now I have this PDF, folks. The world is not prepared
Education.
for what they've already planned.
Changes, education will also
The
see some
people at
significant
the
changes.
door right
Already
now,
there has been an
it's
increase
not
in
by
digital
chance.
learning, especially
It's not
during
what
the
they're
pandemic.
telling you.
By 2050,
This is politically
completely
driven.
Digital schools will be commonplace.
Hence
Even
the
if we have
reason-
physically attended schools, they will have no need for
You got it
books,
here?
using tablets and
Hence the reason
Well, several Chicago suburbs have special meetings scheduled for tonight to debate how to
City
respond
of Chicago.
to a surge in asylum seekers being dropped at train stations in their
City of
communities
Chicago
without warning.
has spent
11 buses have arrived in Hinsdale in
$156.2
recent
million
weeks, including
on
one New Year's
vendors
Day. A total
and
of
migrant
450
migrant
migrants
crisis
have arrived in
data
Hinsdale recently,
shows,
then
and
made
that's
their way by
speaking
train
of
to
up
Chicago.
to January
Hinsdale, North
1st.
Chicago, and Buffalo Grove are among the suburbs holding
Now, the
meetings to set
vendors
rules regarding
are the
drop-off.
people
We'll have a lot more on this story coming
who's
up in a live report on our
orchestrating
news at 5 and 6.
In the meantime,
the migrants
buses
coming
from the southern
into
border are
any
now
particular
dropping
country like we
migrants off
see
New Jersey
in
to
America
get around
right
the
now.
New York City restrictions. At
So this
least
is nothing
13
by
buses
chance.
carrying migrants
This
from
started
Texas
no
and
soon as the
Louisiana
election
arrived
happened
in New Jersey
a few
over
years
the holiday
ago.
weekend. Then about 450
Boom.
migrants
It was a
boarded
plan to
trains
open
and
the
buses
borders
to New York. It comes after the city's mayor
with
Eric
financing
Adams issued an executive order calling for buses
with the
to give
replacements.
the government
You've heard that
32
before.
hours notice of bus arrivals.
At the same time, Elder Lawyer, they're telling us they cannot do anything. Folks, listen to this.
Charged extra. They are looked at
They've been
different.
coming in for the last year and a half, at a clip of 100,000 people per month.
Recently, responding to New York City's migrant crisis at the front lines.
The thousands of migrants that are being shipped to Democratic-led cities with African-American mayors being piled on to underserved communities is unfair both to the communities, but also unfair to the humanity that is dropped off. In the middle of underserved neighborhoods, there's homeless, there's violent crimes at a high rate, and money is being found for those that are just getting here. But what about those who have been living in neighborhoods that have been stripped of banks, stripped of grocery stores, stripped of quality education? And all of a sudden there is a group that is coming in and is causing animosity between the citizens and the new generation of people that are coming in. Chicago is and has more work to do at being a sanctuary city. I will say at times for the African American community and even our brothers and sisters that are migrants in shelters, it can seem like the sanctuary has turned into a hellhole. One of the blessings of being an African American in the United States of America is that we understand the plight of the oppressed. We understand what it is to be left out and looked over. We understand what it means to be stepped on and stepped over. And because of our story, because of our experience of oppression in this country, disenfranchisement in this country, being shut out of medical systems, governmental systems, economy in this country, we understand that we are the best fit to walk you through how to overcome as we've been where you are.
Now that's just what they've paid so far for the vendors, people who are orchestrating this thing, right? Now check this out.
The first thing we do is ID for you. There is no one that's going to rent an apartment with you.
Johnson, and he, believe it or not, this has nothing to do with Johnson. Schwab said that he's going to do this years ago. The World Economic Forum. These are just puppets. Johnson sets aside $150 million more to care for migrants in 2024. Now here's the trick. Lesser magic. Less than half of 2023 costs. So that makes us believe that this is okay because it's less than half. But since they started counting, it has been over 150 million so far. So we're talking about altogether between the time they started counting and this year, $300 million for Chicago alone. At the same time, they cannot do nothing for our people who suffered, who are suffering and who have built this country. Right? So bringing in these people benefits someone.
This latest caravan.
There's a plan. This is what you're seeing is a success based on what the Economic Forum planned years ago. This is a total success, and they will strategically put these people where the poor lives. So what comes now? There's prophecy on what comes with that. Follow me.
They're facing a lack of essentials like
New York. Migrant costs help push New York State's budget to $233 billion. New York Times. $233 billion budget for the replacements. Now, this is prophecy. I'm going to show you where this is going. Right? Now, I want y'all to see this here real quick. I need y'all to think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. Now, there's one more thing you need to see. And then we're going into these scriptures. One more thing. I showed y'all last week that the same Schwab said,
we have to prepare for a more angry world.
Prepare for an angrier world.
How to prepare?
And he also said this. Listen, same guy. Fair use for educational and religious purposes only. Right? Fair use for religious and what? You got it. For religious and educational purposes only.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think.
Now listen to this. Now what they're doing, folks, through their lesser magic is convincing you,
You can imagine that.
this satanic technology is okay.
Transplanted into,
Can you imagine when we all have a chip in our brain? This is their plan. Folks, this is Revelation 13. And the majority of people who fell for what they fell for a few years ago will comply. The majority of the replacements will comply. And they will be what? They will be inseminated into a spiritual army to come against you.
You okay?
Now, where your Christians at, Elder Lawyer, about the Antichrist?
They may be the next stage of human evolution.
You would think Christians would say, if there was any such thing as an Antichrist, is this guy the one? And if he's the Antichrist, then shouldn't you have been raptured by now? Now we know the Antichrist starts at the Vatican, the Pope. That been the Antichrist seat ever since we lost Jerusalem. Okay? But all in all, if there was such a thing as the modern Antichrist that the church were waiting for, you would have thought every Christian pastor out there would have been up on this. But no, the pastors they've been keeping themselves a little busy lately. TD Jakes, anyone?
But can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think. I think.
Isn't that don't you want that? Folks, these are the people who are making the decisions when it comes to scenarios like when the earth shuts down and your talking heads say stay in your house. There's a boogeyman out there that's airborne, only to lead you to a lesser magic in a decision or choice you make yourself that can lead to what? Under some circumstances, a dirt nap. See? Lesser magic. Can't you imagine this? Isn't this good? Now, this guy is supposed to represent you, right? He's the innocent bystander who has no idea what's going on, and he's contemplating the benefits of what this guy's talking about, when really, folks, this is all role playing. This is role playing. Because now he's the innocent guy. Just now he's contemplating the benefits of this. He's supposed to, hey, this guy is really talking to you, when really he's the devil also in it with him. Right?
You can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into, the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that, you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some, very long age. I think.
Hold up. You want people's mind to be transplanted into a digital realm?
That's
where Satan is, isn't it?
You just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some, very long age.
Yeah. Kick rocks. Yeah, Elder Lawyer.
Alex Furlong is about to die. And enter the year 2009. Where immortality is only a heartbeat away. Where money can buy anything.
Shouldn't you consider an alternative body?
Sorry to deceive you. Including life itself.
Why me? Why don't they just grab somebody who's alive now?
Take a look at these people, Alex. They've lived half their lives with no ozone layer.
Tell me who's behind all this.
I'm sorry. But I can't tell you that.
Alex, don't you remember me?
He died, Jewel. Someone paid to bring him back.
I watched you die.
Welcome to my mind. Don't resist. Lose your mind, and you can live forever.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
You could basically wipe the mind slate free, create a new personality, essentially an alias that a person wouldn't realize that they have. They can be.
When you did nothing, you did nothing. Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Now, they've done this before, Elder Lawyer. Right? I've been looking into this. The Maroons of Jamaica, along with the cultural grassroots music and all that was going on well before Bob Marley. They don't want to talk about that. Before they hijacked the Maroon movement through the Queen of England and the Rasta movement, which was what? The Rasta movement was an actual, folks, cultural infiltration. It was a cultural infiltration. Rasta, Haile Selassie. They came in to undo what our people knew in Jamaica the whole time, that they were from the lost tribes of Israel. And what did they do? In fear of the warrior spirit of Benjamin. Well, England began to institute within what? The countries of the West Indies marijuana crops. They started pushing marijuana with the music. The music was good, but they had to inject a poison that would make the men docile. So to take away what? The warrior spirit. So to make you dull and senseless. So to not fight with what? That fervent warrior spirit God naturally put in the tribe of Benjamin. And then right after that, Elder Lloyd, in the midst of that, the same people who were bringing over the crops began to set up merchant shops. Out of nowhere, Asians popped out of nowhere, all over in Jamaica. East Indians popped out of nowhere, open borders, all over Jamaica. To a degree, they started mixing, and they started calling the mix coolies. Right? And now, on a more, I would say, on a more ramped up scale, they roll out what? Medicinal marijuana dispensaries all throughout the United States. It's like on a clock how they do this. Systematically, one thing after the next. Our people wake up, realize we the tribe of Judah. We began to tell everyone, nix this Haile Selassie madness. He's a Cushite from the pits of hell. Okay? Haile Selassie has nothing to do with us. Okay? We start bringing people back to our original understanding according to the Bible, according to Christ. And now they roll out the same program. Medicinal marijuana. Dispensaries everywhere. After they've been putting our people in jail years ago under the Biden plan for a nickel bag of marijuana. Mandatory 3 strikes and all that. Taking our young men and husbands and strong men out of the community under the Biden crime bill of 1994 and 95. Him as well as Bill Clinton, and subsequent to, before that, not subsequent, but before that, prior to that, Ronald Reagan.
It's back to school time for America's children. And while drug and alcohol abuse,
y'all heard about the Oliver North and all that stuff where they were funneling crack cocaine, all that in our neighborhood.
Future depends.
And so then now, after they've gotten the whole country docile, because folks, it's not just our people. The strong, even amongst the whites, have been sucked into the destructive culture, and they're getting high, not realizing the war is at the door against them also.
With little money, with overpowering,
folks, this is all Bible prophecy. I'm going into it.
They're arresting
only to, now that they've weakened
overprescribe opioids.
the country through divide and conquer within Babylon, the walls come down and they bring in all the people that will stress the economy, stress the treasury to a degree where what? You got it, folks. An outright financial collapse. You can't pay for a war out of taxpayers' money between Palestine and Israel. At the same time, the Ukraine. And now 300 million just went to a war in Taiwan they're not telling you about that Biden signed. And then on top of that, billions of dollars, 250 billion almost, given to New York to have the strangers come in. And then 300 million at the same time in Chicago. They cannot do that without stressing the treasury to a degree where we're headed for a financial collapse. And you must have a financial collapse to bring in a new digital currency. This is how you destroy the dollar. This is how we're led into Revelations 13, where no man can buy or sell unless he get down with Schwab's program. Now listen, folks. The last time they did an industrial reformation after slavery, the Reformation, in order for them to get to where they are now, they had to do what? They had to drop a bomb and destroy us in Oklahoma when we had our own stock market. And the majority of those people who set up shop there weren't Muslims. These were Israelites who knew they were Israelites. And guess what? I got the proof of that from Cambridge white papers. That these people who are pastors and set up their own towns in Oklahoma, when they dropped the bomb on Black Wall Street, it had more so to do with us being Israelites, nor we were Israelites in the churches, making a righteous way of selling and trading outside of the evil that was going on through the trading amongst the others in New York. We were setting up enterprise to actually trade with Africa back then. Africa was the main connection for Black Wall Street so that we can embolden our own people financially. And now here we are. The walls are coming down. What happens when you do what? What happened when you let the criminals of all other countries over and say, listen, we're going to give you full meals and everything. 3 meals a day in the most luxurious hotels. Where's this money coming from for the luxurious hotels?
These mostly from Venezuela.
At the same time, they can't give you anything and our people are sleeping on the streets. They have a budget for this, folks. They're stressing the economy. They're stressing, listen, they're stressing the economy on purpose. They're flatlining. This is going to head into what? A financial collapse. Because these people are getting free food. On top of that, insurance, they're getting health care, they're getting housing. Guess what, folks? New Brunswick, Maine. They built a whole community in New Brunswick, Maine, where they're giving these people, they call them migrants, right? These people didn't even go through the normal process of immigration. They're giving them $2,000 a month and a townhouse, and they don't have to pay for rent for 2 years straight.
Large numbers
look it up. New Brunswick, Maine.
As they pour into Texas border towns. El Paso's described as at breaking point.
This is how you fast track and speed the New World Order. You must stress and destroy or flatline what?
Week, the Biden administration
you must cause an economy collapse.
Venezuelans already in the U.S. But these are
and what happens after the collapse.
Turning point after numbers
Right?
had dropped.
I'm about to go into scriptures with you real quick, Elder Lawyer.
More.
What happened after the collapse? Well, after the collapse, all the people that are now in the country, when they build the wall, will have a dog-eat-dog mentality. And then, that's right, folks, the purge.
It is a night that is defining
The purge will give NATO the justifiable green light to come in with arms. See, they did this strategically earlier in the year, where they were trying to do it undercover for a while. But when it can no longer be hid at certain malls and all that, people started seeing all these buses near supermarkets and all this. When they could no longer hide it, they started talking about asylum seekers. Right?
It is a psychological one. If we want to save our country,
Because under asylum,
all our anger in one night.
you cannot call ICE on anyone.
This is your emergency
Right?
broadcast system.
They are above the law.
Of the first purge.
Asylum seekers. Right? And all these people started coming in, asylum seekers all over the place.
All crime, including murder,
Military-aged
will be
men
legal for 12 hours.
in the country. The Senate and Congress said, well, listen, if they want to fight for our country, we need to swear them in and give them immediate citizenship. And then Biden is saying that these people are going to be in the next election. They will determine or have citizenry to be able to vote in the next election. And don't forget, our people voted for this. The flat line. The walls of Babylon coming down. Now let's see what happens according to scripture. Let's go in, Elder Lawyer, one moment.
Hey, all ex-military, something funky going down, D.
1 second. We'll be right back. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter in a minute, Elder Lawyer. 1 second.
Yes, sir.
I'll be right back. Academy tomorrow. Elder Lawyer, let's go directly here. Let me see. Let's go directly, Elder Lawyer, if you will. Hold on. Let's get Elder Lawyer. I'll wait till he come back. Taking a break here. So while he's coming back, Elder Lawyer, you back?
Yes, sir.
All praises. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Let me get it here, and I'm going to show people prophetically where this goes. Brothers and sisters, like I said in the beginning, those who don't want to follow, begin, and don't want to do right by God, you have to be like Noah. You have to know when to hold your tongue and not say anything at all. Because eventually, they're coming after what you got. A purge. They have created a what? A systematic purge that will lead to total mayhem, chaos, division. You can't bring all these people over from all these different places with different cultures and not know that there will be a cataclysm between nations and races. Right? So let's talk about how this thing gonna go down. Follow us here. Elder Lawyer, let's go first. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 50th chapter.
Yes, sir. Jeremiah 50, verse 1. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard.
Hold up, Elder Lawyer. Hold up, Elder Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. All right, say something.
All right, mic check 1 2, test test.
Yeah, that's
mic
better.
Check 1 2.
Yeah, that's better. That's fine. Go ahead. Let's
right.
start at the first verse again.
Yes, sir. Verse 1. The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded.
Babylon
is broken in pieces.
Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Moradok, these are all the idols and gods of the nations. You notice all of these people they're bringing over are highly entrenched in pagan beliefs and ideologies. These are the people who worship statues and idols. You notice that? You notice that? Declare ye among the nations and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded. Folks, and let me tell you, with all of this, what we're seeing before us live is human trafficking. You have to know the history to understand what human trafficking looks like when you're displacing people based on destroying their way of life. And through that, a lot of things get what? Caught in the mix. Children and all of this. Right? Conceal not. Say Babylon is taken. Bel is confounded. Mordecai is broken in pieces. So the idolaters can no longer stand back and destroy us silently, hitting while hiding their hands. The idolaters are saying, listen, we're coming to help keep this stronghold called America up against God's people, because if these people rise to prominence according to promise, our empires are destroyed anyway. This is why they're all coming over all at once. Strategically, right at our doors in the inner cities. Now, fortunate for certain communities like the Jewish community, they don't have to worry about that. Okay? No one is going to come into the Jewish community and say, you got to give up your schools or your temple or your institutions to help these asylum seekers. Okay? To let you know who's getting targeted here. Mm-hmm. That in of itself tells you something. Right? Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded, and guess what? You're not going to hear people telling those in Chinatown that you're going to have to shut down a few of your stores to let these asylum seekers come in for refuge during the winter. Or the hotels you have in Chinatown. That's right. The Chinese people that are coming over are going to be in hotels and be in a neighborhood near you. They're not going to be in a hotel right there in Chinatown. You notice that, right? To show you who they're targeting, who the world powers are targeting. The threat is the Israelites awakening. Read her idols.
Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces.
They're losing power, folks. Why? They're losing slaves. Why? Because the children of Israel are woke. You notice they use that word with a negative connotation, as if they were more satisfied when you were asleep. And then they connect woke to whackness. So to make people think that a positive word is evil or wrong. See, that's their magic. When really the awakening is written of in the Bible. You cannot have slaves if we know that our people were born to rule. See? So now all the idolaters are rallying together because they're losing their power, their life source that comes from the dark side, because our people, we know now. And guess what? Our people have been holding them up. We've been holding those people up. This is why what? They've been initiating us and actually doing missionaries and all others to try to do what? Have us worship within their religions. We've been holding them up because they know the power and prayer of the saints. So they use Tina Turner, What Love's Got to Do With It, Oprah, who's a known witch. They use them to coax our people into Asian ideology to become Buddhist. Because we've been holding them up. Islam wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for Malcolm X and others giving it that I would say international PR as the religion for an oppressed people, when in history We know that Islam enslaved and killed our people who was following Islam. They use us as PR to clean up Islam's image. So we upheld their religion, and which emboldens them. See? It was Malcolm. It was Malcolm, folks, who gave Islam good press. When the history of Islam is very dark. They destroyed and killed as many of our people who were Israelites as Romans, as the Roman Christians. Right? So now that we began to step back and say, no, keep your Buddha. No, keep your Allah in your prayer rug. Oh no, you take your yoga. Oh no, you can take your pagan Christianity. I'm Israel. Folks, the gods they worship are losing power. That's what it's speaking of in the book of Jeremiah. Read the 3rd verse. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 3. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast.
And guess what, folks? That war from the north is speaking of the Persians, the Medes. It's speaking of Iran. Right? So what you see in the Middle East right now is an intentional, that's right, instigation that would lead to the whole world blaming America for its ills, its plagues. It's systematic. Rome, the 10 horns, planned this so that now the war is not going to stop with them attacking Israel or the state of Israel, because the children of Israel is really scattered. We're the Israelites. But the war will lead to what? Destabilizing America, which the New World Order needs so that they can gain power 1 hour with the beast, so that Rome will be the only superpower left. The European powers will be the only superpower left. Let me show y'all something real quick. 1 second. Let me show y'all something. Look at this. I showed this years ago. I think I showed this in 2011? Look at this, folks. Here is the unfinished Tower of Babel. The art by Bruhal. And they intentionally, for the EU Parliament in Strasbourg, built a modern, unfinished Tower of Babel to show you the occult symbolism that's behind what they're doing. You must know the Bible to understand their plan. If you don't know the Bible and its story of Noah, after Noah, the Tower of Babel, Sodom and Gomorrah, you don't have no idea why they built this construct for the EU. It's the same plan under their same God, Satan. Huh? Can you see that? We're dropping some knowledge on y'all today, right? Other way, let's go to Jeremiah 50 to show, because we're going to show people prophetically where all this ends with all these nations who've always aligned themselves against us, who are now being paid through not just tax money. It's not just your tax money, folks. It's all hands on deck. The banks will spare no expense to make sure they overrun these countries, so to stress the treasury so that what? There'll be no more need for the American dollar. That's the plan. And then the purge. And folks, like I said many years, since they shut the world down years ago, watch all the people who are brain dead following everything that was going out there without looking into what God was saying. These are the people that's going to what? It's going to be crabs in a bucket, and they're going to come after you first. I'm telling you. Because no one else is preparing. So if you're preparing and you're doing certain things that you know as far as resources, assets, you're going to have to keep a lot of that quiet from people around you. I'm going to tell you that right now. Read the 4th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. In those days and at that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their God.
So when all this happens, where the Most High began to destroy, brothers and sisters, the power of those religions that have always enslaved us, our people going to begin to seek the God who once cursed us. That's where we are presently. We're seeking answers, and none of the people who are doing this to us have given us any. Right? So we're going to now go to God and say, maybe you can help us with all of this confusion. Make some sense of this crazy world. And guess what? The Most High has answered. Right? So too, now when we see what's going on, there's no panic. No, I got y'all. I was just waiting for y'all to wake up out of that coma. I was waiting for y'all to walk away from the same religion, the religions of the Gentiles that had you spiritually enslaved and separated from me. But now the gods of the nations are being dashed to pieces. You can't trust in these nations. They're liars. They're deceivers. They're devil worshipers. It tell you the Israelites will come and weep and cry towards the Almighty and say, I need your help. These people who I've always backed and helped have conspired to destroy our people. That's why I hate that term when they talk about black and brown people. That's a deceptive, evil term. Because we do for everyone else while they conspire to destroy us. I hate that term. What we're doing for black and brown people. Oh, the people that you hired to destroy and replace us? Fifth verse.
Verse 5. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten.
So eventually, with all the hell going on, we're going to know that nothing else worked but the God who saved us out of the hand of Pharaoh. See? Come, let us join ourselves to the Most High and make a covenant with him. And that covenant comes through what? The covenant that was made when Christ shed his blood for us. And we're going to accept his son in the sacrifice, which allow us to understand what all of you see today. So in case you don't know what to do, he sent his own son, the first begotten of all the spirits, to walk in this earth as an example. So if you don't know, it's simple. Read Christ's words. Follow his path, and you're on code. It's that simple. If you don't know, go to Matthew 5 and read how we must interact with one another and how we must even interact with authority like the police and all that. Christ drops it all. Just walk in his path. You're in the covenant now. 6.
Yes, sir. Verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray.
Their shepherds like T.D. Jakes, like those thieves, like Oral Roberts, and what's that guy, the father of the prosperity movement, the Jesuit? What's his name again? Kenneth Copeland. These devils, Kenneth Copeland. Okay, T.D. Jakes. Create a flow of dollars. Let me tell you, folks, you can sit any of those men in a room and ask them to break down what you're learning right here. They'll look dense and confused. They'll look dense and confused. I'm going to tell you, folks, what they are. They are motivational speakers. That's it. That's why the Bible says, my people, listen, we don't need to be motivated. We need truth. Truth motivates me. My people have been lost. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains, read.
They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place.
We have forgotten our resting place, Zion. Some of us are still out of our minds believing Africa is our resting place, and our people in Africa have no rest. Okay, Zion is our resting place. And it says they've turned from mountains to hill. Well, let me go try this church. Let me go try this church. Oh, well, maybe I need to be a Buddhist. Maybe I need to be a Muslim. There's no rest. We're from Zion. Read.
Verse 7. All that found them have devoured them.
Read.
And their adversary said, we offend not.
It says all those who have taken advantage of us have devoured us economically. They've taken our housing. They've taken our civil rights. They've taken all the property that our parents once held. And it says, we offend not. You know why they can say they offend not? Because of their lesser magic. They could not have done this unless our people agreed with it. It ain't my fault. Their lesser magic was when they came in with Reverend Al Sharpton with the bad perm, bringing what? Bringing, that's right, folks, multiculturalism. Multiculturalism. Black and brown people, nonprofit organizations in our community to align ourselves with the enemy. See? And see, what they did was, years ago, what they did was they implanted it in our minds a long time ago through their lesser magic. When Jesse Jackson, who actually betrayed the civil rights movement, okay, and sold out King and others, they started putting it in your minds because his coalition, before we thought anything about it years ago in the 80s, he named it the Rainbow Coalition. And that's before the rainbow became the flag for LGBTQ. They seeded that in our minds through the lesser magic. They already had this plan to have the political sellouts and leaders align themselves with the enemy to destroy their own people, the children of Israel. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries say, we offend not. It's not our fault. Y'all people, y'all got to wake up. See? It's not our fault. A lot of people think the rainbow started with LGBTQ. No, they ushered it in through us. Don't forget, we're the formers of all things. They're not original. We must bring it into existence for it to happen in this earth, folks. Anything. So they had to use us as a vehicle for their agendas. Right? Because what, Elder Lawyer? Now, why did the Most High allow this?
Because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers.
And the Most High allowed them to do this only because why? We continue to sin against him. This is why the evil synagogue of Satan promotes us negative as an image before the world. Because they understand the power of our persuasion. So this is why the Most High allowed this, because why? We've become our worst enemies. Read.
Verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as he-goats before the flock.
And be as he-goats before the flock. Flocks, what happened 2009, 2010 when everyone thought we were crazy? We went out when everyone was claiming that we were crazy as he-goats before the flock. Established churches all over the earth, folks, and came back. So to what? So to secure brothers and sisters in understanding and knowing that the Most High will take care of us any place we are. So that our people wouldn't be afraid when it's time. He sent out spies into the land of Canaan before our people crossed over into the land of Israel. So there is no mass migration. Okay? The Most High sent us out as he-goats before the flock, so to show our people who are afraid of anything outside of the United States that there was life before the United States and there will be life after the United States ceased to exist as a corporation. Read.
Verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Her arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
None shall return in vain. So every strategic hit militarily from the adversary of Babylon will hit. Will hit. Now, we all know this is not going to happen, within a year or so. We got some time, but this will happen. This will happen. But see, there's keys in what? In this watch. Obviously, the governments of these other countries have tipped off their citizens and told their citizens it's a money grab in the United States right now. If it was just about refuge, they would just stay in Mexico. Mexico has already opened their country for asylum seekers and say, y'all can come here. But the money isn't the same unless they cross the border. See? See, Mexico wanted some of that international money. Mexico was like, well, hold up, why don't y'all come over here? But nah, the Mexican dollar isn't worth what the American dollar is. The peso, all of that isn't worth the American dollar. So they're like, nah. So if it was about surviving, they would just stay in Mexico, folks. But the governments have already told them it's a fire sale in America. They'll take care of you. You'll have houses, assets, and all of that because they're taking it away from God's people there, and they're willing to give it to you for a time if you're willing to help us against them, against those people. See? That's what's going on, folks. See? So if you're watching, the same government that told them to come over here for the money grab, when it's time for them to actually get their visas and speak to their embassies, because all of the embassies in America is involved in this too. When you see them get on buses and begin to fly back out of America, then at that point, you know that they've been tipped off that what? The bank is closed. That at that time, that will be our key to know, okay, it's time to start looking into or operating outside of the United States altogether. Right? So their governments told them it's a money grab. Their embassies are going to be in contact with them and let them know there's right now there's a red alert on America. It's time for y'all to come back home and bring that money with you. Bring anything you took, anything you have, bring it with you. And when we see these same people moving out in droves like we see them coming in, that's a sign for us. Now, the majority of the people in America aren't going to look at it that way. They just going to just walk docile as if everything is normal like they're doing now. The clues is for those who can see. Right? Let's read it down, Elder Lawyer. Let's read the 10th verse.
Yes, sir. Verse 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord.
All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Right now, America is getting spoiled. See? That's why. Again, see, you can have people complaining about the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of New York, when these guys have no say in the matter. Even if you complain about Biden, Biden has no say in this matter. You're looking at the guy. He told you years ago what the plan was to dismantle America. Huh? A world without borders. Oh, you thought America would be excluded? This is March 2016 from the World Economic Forum. Huh? So when you look at and see what? When you see, hit that like button. When you look at and see on CBS where it says Chicago has spent 156 million so far and is approved for another 150 million this year, 300 million. Don't think it has anything to do with the mayor, Johnson. Johnson sets aside another 150 million. Johnson ain't doing nothing. He's doing what he's told. The World Economic Forum said this was going to happen. Okay. So when you see in New York, 233 billion approved. When you see 150 million goes towards what? Vendors. These are those who just orchestrating things. This is why it'll never going to stop, because these cats are getting paid. So the Black Lives Matter cats, a lot of them moved off the last hustle when it came to the earth getting shut down. And now they got new contracts for this now. And the Bible breaks it down. So America is getting spoiled right now. 11.
Verse 11. Because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls.
So the Most High said, because you were glad when my people was destroyed. You want to talk about somebody overrunning America? when America was overran by who? Neo-colonialists. Now you want to complain about some people coming in? Now they coming in for everything now, including what belongs to the people who conquered our people. 12.
Verse 12, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare thee shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be as a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
The destruction of Babylon. Read.
Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited.
It shall not be inhabited. So eventually, when the war happens, we got a few years before it go down, but when it happens, there will be what? A domino effect. That's right. When the nuclear reactors melt down, boom, 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 all throughout the United States. And it tell you Revelation 16 and 19 that America will be broken into 3 separate parts. And guess what? It's going to be highly toxic to live on the land at that time when it happens. Read.
Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate.
Read.
Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues.
Read.
Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord.
For she hath sinned against the Lord. And if all the evil that was done up until this time wasn't bad enough, they destroyed marriage, had people with perverted and satanic ideology adopt children, destroyed history, utterly destroyed the educational system. Right? And the folks, it ain't going back. And they'll tell you this isn't going back. All the institutions that we used to go to within our community are now being given to the others. You notice that? Schools, churches. Folks, remember when the code happened and they shut all the institutions down and people started realizing there was a lot of workers and all that working in the schools and the schools that were shut down? You notice that? Now we're realizing what they were preparing a lot of these places for. They were preparing these places as refuge for the replacements. 15.
Yes, sir. Verse 15. Shout out against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down.
A land, a world without borders. This is prophesied, folks. Her walls are thrown down. No borders is what you see. So this also let us know what? That our God is allowing this. This is how the children of Israel are finally freed. The empire that have enslaved our people must be dismantled. See? Must be dismantled. And only those who have the faith of the righteous will make it through the last years before the coming of our Lord and Savior. The majority of the earth will be compromised with this brain chip and this new financial system because they have no trust outside of what? The trust systems within the policies of this world. And when they get that stuff in them, guess what? We'll have mindless, soulless soldiers for Satan seeking to destroy the righteous. For it is what?
For it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her, as she have done, do unto her.
You reap what you sow. Come on.
Yes, sir. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land.
Here's the key indicator, folks, of when it's time. All the people you see coming in here today, they've been tipped off from their governments that it's the money grab. So to flatline the economy of America. Get it while you can get it. So they got Chinese, East Indians, everybody coming in. They're emptying their jails, everything. Get it while the getting's good. But then it says, what? That for the fear of the oppressing sword, when they're told that an attack is coming, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. See? So that's going to be the key when you start seeing these nations funneling out. Make sure you get your passport. Expedite it if you can, because they're going to try to do what? They're going to attempt to push it back to claim that what? They're so inundated that it may take you 6 months to a year to get a passport. Now is your time to get your passport. Because at least if you get a passport, you have 10 years on that passport. Right? And even if you have a child gets you 5 years. A child gets 5 years where you have to go to an embassy on the outside of the country to renew it. There's American embassies everywhere. Get your passport. That's going to be the key right there to tip us off that the governments of these people have told them something is about to happen. And see, this is what prophets and teachers have always done, what we're doing right here. They're giving you the insight of what to do, what to prepare for as it unfolds real time. Okay? And they shall what?
And they shall flee everyone to his own land.
They shall flee everyone to their own land. So remember, we told you this first, right? Read.
17. Israel is a scattered sheep.
Read.
The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria have devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, have broken his bones.
So that's the split between Israel and Judah. Israel is the 10 tribes who are over here already, who are in the South Pacific Seas and New Zealand and Australia, the indigenous people, North, Central, and South America. First, the Assyrians took them. And then Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, took our king, our throne during the time of Jeconiah, right? So the nations who worship Satan have systematically and intentionally divided us, right? 18.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I've punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead.
So this is what? The end of all of we're reading right now, folks. That's right, folks. There's a happy ending for those who endure. So we're not supposed to just seek and view and be fearful during the change. A lot of people are operating out of fear. No. This is what the Most High must do for an amendment, to destroy those who don't want to follow the Bible and don't want to follow Christ, right? And there's a judgment on the nations for conspiring against us. And at the end, we get the land of Israel upon the coming of our Lord and Savior. But like I mentioned earlier, we must walk and operate and work to be on this ark, Christ's ark. Right? 20.
Yes, sir. Verse 20. In those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve.
I will pardon them whom I reserve. Eventually, folks, will be a people without sin. And I'll tell you this, folks, we would have accomplished this already if they didn't infiltrate us and destroy us through the machine. If they didn't incentivize wickedness, debauchery, sin, and put it on their airwaves, so to spoil and destroy the minds of our children, we would have been here already. But the Most High said at the end of this, we'll be a sinless people. We're not going to be known for sin. And we wouldn't be known for sin if the synagogue of Satan didn't take the bottom of our society and promote it as the image of our people, for our people. Because there's so much good amongst our people that you'll never see on TV. You'll never see on Tyler Perry movies. You'll never see on Oprah's couch. See? They'll never promote the goodness and wholesomeness and the faith of the righteous within our people. But guess what? God said at the end of this, we'll be a people without sin.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
Go up against the land of Marathane, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod. Waste and utterly destroy them, or destroy after them, saith the Lord, and do according to all that I've commanded thee.
Read.
22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How was Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
How did Babylon fall? Go ahead.
24. I have laid a snare for thee. Thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because the Lord has striven, or because thou hast striven against the Lord.
And I'm going to tell you where we are now, folks. Right? This is where we are now. And I'm going to pick it up real quick. You notice we went through a phase of LGBTQ promotion, diversity promotion. They're past that phase now because it did exactly what they needed to do. They needed the what? The core nucleus of the nuclear family to be utterly destroyed. So they're pivoting off of diversity. And now they're going into total takeover. By what? Opening the borders. Because the people that are coming in, even though they're Satanists, a lot of them, and idolaters, they have traditional values and believe in the nuclear family. So by default, these people are spiritually stronger than those that are left within our communities because at least they believe in family. We cannot contend with that. With every home being single. We can't contend with that. They're coming together with their families. We're stressed financially because why? You got so many single people that now we have all these extra bills as individuals. See? And now they're taking all of the government subsidies and what they call entitlements, and they're going to give all of that to these people. So we're past the diversity thing. They finished with that because it has accomplished the total destruction of family in America. You destroy family, the nation ceased to exist. And now there's no resistance against those that they have coming in number throughout the country now, in our cities. That's what phase they're in now. First it was the cold. A lot of people conveniently are out of the way now. The diversity thing was using to break the family up the whole time. And now they're off of that and saying, well, listen, no more affirmative action. We don't got nothing for you Americans. Now it's time for the replacement side. And folks, America will never go back. It's on a trajectory downward. And according to prophecy, it will never go back. And what I'm looking at is who's operating, how they're operating. And I'm making sure I'm actually, folks, logging all that in my mind so to know who to be away from when all of this pops. Let's read it down at the lawyer 25.
Yes, sir. Verse 25. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans.
So ultimately, folks, our God is in control. And this is why when Paul and the disciples wrote the epistles, it was to encourage our people, because our people are so short-sighted. We normally focus on the current standings or the current scenarios without seeing the big picture. Our people normally see something and react spontaneously through panic. And this is how the so-called liberal satanic Democrats were able to finesse and destroy us, because they know we operate strictly off of what? Instant emotion. All they got to say is that person is racist, and automatically we're triggered with an immediate reaction that they can expect. When all of them are racist, all of them are against us. So I'm saying that to say that to give you what? Assurance that the Most High has a plan through this. And you're not to panic and make moves outside of guidance, because you're going to need a help when it all goes down. There's no way, with all the knowledge we even know, that I know concerning these prophecies. I've seen a lot of this well before there was a YouTube, by reading the word. And I know that I cannot survive this by myself. It's an impossibility. The Most High must gather the elect to the elect, those of the same mind, so that we can help each other through this. But if you panic, you're the unbelieving and the fearful. And even Christ say the unbelieving and fearful have no place in his kingdom. You're going to get everybody destroyed panicking. (26)
Yes, sir. Verse 26. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left, or let nothing of her be left.
Read.
Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation.
Now you notice the so-called elite on the negative side is saying that people are going to need to adjust themselves, right, for a new pilot. And your new pilot will be bugs. See? They're saying, no, we're not going to have, they're slaughtering animals. They're slaughtering bulls and stuff, folks, intentionally to starve off the people, knowing that that's the greatest source of protein. You see it? It's all in the prophecy. 28.
28. the voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord our God, the vengeance of his temple.
And when it all go down, those who are in Christ and understand what's happening will be on the outside when the destruction comes. Read.
29. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape, recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done, do unto her. For she have been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel.
Because she been proud against the Holy One of Israel. How can you claim that America was built on Judeo-Christian value and allow this country to go to the depths immorally we witness and see today? Where they promote obesity, they promote transgenderism, they everything that is against the Bible. They're cramming down our throats. Obesity, gluttonous, vanity, sin, transgenderism, telling children that they need to pushing transitional type of drugs and stuff on children. You think God is going to continue to allow this? That proves that the people, the adults of America, are defeated. When you allow a system to come after your children, you have no fight left. You think God is going to help save you? There is no fight when you allow Satan to have access to your children. 30.
Verse 30. Therefore shall our young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord.
And you notice after the bug happened, subsequent to that, they opened up America, that you have less men enlisting in the armed forces. It's all right here. And all men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord, that you'll have no defense. A matter of fact, they'll let the enemy come in and enroll under American uniform to finish the job. 31.
Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord God of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee.
Come on.
32. When the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him.
Come on.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
We were oppressed together. That's why when I see Venezuelans and people coming of our tribes of Israel over here because America and the Western world policies of Rome destroyed them, you will never hear me say something negative about a people who are being oppressed and moved around like pawns. I'll never speak ill against our people who are seeking refuge. This is deeper than that. I'll never speak ill against that because I understand that they were being made destitute so that the new world order officers and demons can now take their resources. We've been oppressed together. So I'm not going to allow that divide and conquer to get in the way for me defending America over my own people who are suffering and coming over here to get whatever's left when they were destroyed and this was their land first. So you'll never hear me say anything negative about Venezuelans personally. But they got to come over here and understand not to be enemies against our people. You are our brothers. You are our sisters. And they're trying to use you as proxy in a war against your own brother, your own sisters. Right? The Bible says we were oppressed together. Now, when I see Chinese coming over here, military-aged men, when I see Israelis and others coming over, Eastern Europeans and Ukrainians coming over here, military age, right? These are they that I'm really focusing on more so than the people they're utilizing as a cloak. See? So I'm not going to allow them to politically, through their policy, divide us anymore. The only reason I point out the people coming over is not against the people, about the money they're paying when they're not doing nothing for our people. So to stress the economy and to do what? And to eventually crash the economy. That's what I'm looking at. Because at the end of it, who's ever left are going to be in this together during the purge. And all that took them, read.
And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
They refused to let us go. Brothers and sisters, just like Pharaoh, they hardened their hearts. They see our people suffering. They see altogether, there's one thing our people have been saying here in America we want and we deserve, and that's reparations. You think they haven't heard that? And they are intentionally ignoring it. Oh yeah, we can give you some reparations in the form of education. That's hardening their hearts. Yeah, we can give you some reparations in the form of maybe we can spread it out 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's hardening their hearts. And what they're doing, right, in our faces is saying, here's your reparations. Look at how much money I'm sending to Israel. Look how much money I've given to the president of Ukraine. He's sitting there with 2 yachts, property, and all of that. Yeah, I got some reparations for you. Check out the hundreds of millions I'm giving to the people that's coming over to replace and destroy your people in Chicago. That's hardening their hearts, folks. The more we ask to be let go in the time of Egypt, the worse Pharaoh became. The same thing under modern day Babylon. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast and refused to let them go. Come on.
34. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he might give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
So now we've asked and realized it's not in Pharaoh's mind to help us. Mm-hmm. It's not in Pharaoh's mind to help us, even because you know what? That would be the right thing to do. And when have they ever done right by us? And that's why I was skeptical when they were saying, oh yeah, we need to make sure the underprivileged and the poor get it first. There's a shortage and we don't want these elite and the 1% to get it. Nah, let's make sure the poor black people get it first. That's how I knew there was something wrong to this. When they ran out, when it was running their campaigns. When have you ever chose us first for something good? We asked for reparations. Right? Our people who've suffered and built the country. And you wait for a war that just happened a few decades ago to give money to people who are fighting over in Israel today. You gave the Japanese reparations for being placed in internment camps during the war. Right? You give Ukrainians money while our people suffer. So it says, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. The only power we can trust is the God who stated all of this would happen, the God who put us in the hands of our oppressors for disobedience. We have to seek to him. We have to seek to Christ. Because these people will never help us. They have never helped us. And hopefully our people will wake up. Hopefully they'll wake up. Don't get mad at Biden. Don't get mad at your politicians, folks. Don't get mad at all. Why? Because you participated in their electoral process. You agreed to everything that's happening to you. Huh? You agreed with it. Don't complain now. $35.
Yes, sir. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars.
Upon the what?
It says, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord.
Now read the 36th verse.
I'm sorry, say that again.
36.
Yes, sir. 36. A sword is upon the liars.
Upon the who?
Upon the liars.
Upon the liars. You listening to their talking heads, you will do it to your own detriment. They are liars. They just needed to buy enough time to get you out of the way. I'm telling our people the whole time not to fall for their lies. And all the people looking at me, you're not a doctor. You're not this. Listen, we're reading the word of God. Then they patting our people, our sisters and others on the head, putting a white jacket on them, making them feel they're special while they're in our community killing us with false diagnosis and all of that. And our people, man, we're such a trusting people. They want to show our people on posters and all that with white jackets on. Well, take these sellouts and have them look over your people. Our people are so trusted, not realizing they have sold us out. A sword is upon the liars. Read.
And they shall dote.
Read.
A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed.
Read.
A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her.
The mingled people which are in the midst of her. Mingled, mixed. You notice at the same time on TV right now, on your movies, they're more so promoting a mixture of people where you don't know what ethnicity they're from. And then you're looking at a person, you say, is that a male or female? They are intentionally promoting this mingled ideology. This is how you absorb all people into a new culture, so to forget their own traditions and culture. They shall become what?
And they shall become as women.
This is the feminization of men. They shall become as women. This is why you see a nation of over-emotional men. And sometimes some of these men get fed up because I'm going to speak to you like a man. I'm not going to pander to your emotions like your mama did. So what happens is you get a nation of people who are used to what? Conflict resolution, being raised strictly from their mama. They don't even realize that their behaviors on how they actually deal with conflict is from an over emotional upbringing. I can understand that with girls. I can understand that with women when the Bible says what? I will what? Multiply your sorrows. So a woman as the weaker vessel runs through her emotions to get to solution. So I'm more patient with a woman who operates like that. Okay? Men get offended when I tell them, listen, I don't roll like that. You cannot come to me over emotional like you learn to deal with conflicts watching your mama. You must raise yourself up with wisdom and understand that that is what? That's a curse to you. And don't expect me to operate like that. I'm here to say, man up. We're in a war. And I'm only going to deal with you as a man. See? We all have different faults, right? But brothers who've been raised like that got to understand that that's a fault they have to overcome. The world don't owe you anything. The world is not going to understand who wasn't there. See? The world is unforgiving. So when you are a grown man, even Paul said it. He dropped it. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I act like a child. But when I came of age, I put away childish things. You can't expect people to deal with you under what? An arrested development. And get frustrated that you're not getting your way like a petulant child. See? People get offended because I speak to men and deal with men like men. Women, okay, the Bible says give honor to them as the weaker vessel. They'll run all of their thoughts through their emotions until they get to solution. We can bear that with a woman. We're going to talk about that during the round table. But I wanted to let y'all know. It tell you right here, they shall become women. It's speaking of what? Men. Here it is. The war is happening and you got a man running behind you. Running behind you. Tell me, can you protect me? No, we're not going to have men. Men are going to be men to the death. And we'll protect our women and children. We're not in a position where a man is running and clutching his little jewels next behind another man. It ain't operating like that. It ain't working like that. Okay. Sword is upon her. Read it.
A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed.
And they shall be robbed. That's the future. Let's go down here to 40th verse, the 40th verse to show you why the Most High is going to do this. Read.
Yes, sir. Verse 40. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein.
As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, folks, we did a lesson. The full breakdown of Sodom and Gomorrah, and guess what? It smells of sulfur till this day. That's the future of America. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, because they're operating in the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. They have Sodomites and those in the spirit of Gomorrah in every high authoritative position within politics, over our communities, over our social programs, like it was in ancient Sodom. And guess what? They're coming after the children. They're coming after the straight people like they did during the time of Lot, to violate straight people. And it tell you that in what? You can go to Genesis 19, read it all the way through. You thought they just wanted not to be bullied and just wanted equal rights? 41.
Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth.
Iran.
They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses. Every one put in array like a man to the battle. Against thee, O daughter of Babylon.
Against thee, O daughter of Babylon. You can read the rest on your own time, but in a nutshell, when you look at real time operations in the earth geopolitically, and you look at Jeremiah 50, it breaks down everything we're dealing with right now, real time to the second. And the Most High have done an awakening in the earth. He've awakened brothers and sisters to understand this word as we should understand it, not just from a religious gathering viewpoint. Okay, and this is where we are. Now we do have time, but all in all, it's time to walk circumspect, get on code with one another, and watch what we say and do amongst those who can't see. It's time for you to preserve yourself alive on the ark. And through this church is a vehicle the Most High is using to be saved, to be a help in a time such as this when the borders have been utterly dissolved. And you're going to realize what? At the end of the day, there's only a few of us. And we are all we got. I'll answer a few questions. That concludes our lesson. Y'all have done a great job today. We're over 3,400 and counting. This is one of those lessons that if you don't know, you need to download it to your desktop. Okay? Or your computer or your phone. Save this and remember what we taught in this class today. And see if everything we said going forward, according to policy, a year from now, see if what we told you going to happen, let's see if it don't unfold exactly how God said in the word, so that you can know that the Most High have sent servants amongst you. All praises be to the Most High. If you have a question, I can answer a question. All praises be to the Almighty. Y'all done a great job. I'm so glad, because there's no way we'll be well over 3,000 folks if y'all didn't help us with this by making sure you hit the like button and drive in traffic here. So many people have to hear this. And I'm going to tell you, everything that we're talking about is written in the heavens. What we're talking about today, the Most High put in our hearts to bring before you. And folks, continue to support. I mean, if we're doing so much to help you plan through all of this, the Bible says, if we have instilled in you the spiritual things, shall we not reap your carnal things? So don't let nobody shame you when you want to help us in this work, financially or whatever, okay? Because this gives us time to connect, and also, that's right, folks, we're going to need help to help refuge, food, and all that going forward, because we're not just talking about it. There's nothing, everything we're teaching, we're putting into action, knowing what's coming coming against our people. So if this have helped you and benefited you, you can see it on the bottom on how to help us right there to my left. Okay. And also join the academy. Join the academy, historytimes.org. It's a little bit amount, of your earn to actually help, but you're helping so many scenarios by helping us with that. So I want to see y'all in the academy. Go to historytimes.org, okay? Okay, I guess there's no questions. Hey, I guess most was answered within the lesson itself. That's a good thing. Well, I'll be answering some questions tomorrow. Elders, could the incoming immigrants be a sign that the enemy knows that the Exodus is near? Well, the Exodus isn't going to be like it was coming out of Egypt, where we all left the same time. Okay? It's not going to be like that. But they are systematically utilizing them as mercenaries against our people in the inner cities, indirectly. It's not as if these people are intentionally coming in to displace us. A lot of them aren't saying, well, let me come over here and destroy Judah. It's not that way. It's their circumstances that's been made bad in their homeland, where they're coming in number in our community. And for the sake of self-preservation, they're going to align themselves together against any outside community. That's natural. Right. It so happens that they're being clustered up amongst us, and it's going to lead to a cataclysm within our neighborhoods. So this is a political way of indirectly attacking the people who are waking the whole world up, our people, children of Israel. But guess what? A lot of it is going to blow back in their face, because they're going to see a lot of these people they let over with fringes on and a Bible next to us teaching. Right. So that's, in that way, it will blow back in their face. Right? In that way. Right? Right? Well, that concludes our lesson, Elder Lawyer. Thank you. And I'm glad you were able to come on. The sound was good. And we're going to see how we do it at the academy tomorrow. I'm going to work it out. It depends on really the forecast on how the roads are going to be. I may come into the church tomorrow. I'll give you a call. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
My brother. Shalom.
All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Oh, that concludes our lesson. When the walls of Babylon come falling down. With that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Sin not. I'll see you tomorrow in the academy. And keep in mind that the Most High is calling back the children of Israel. Shabbat shalom. I'll see you tomorrow in the academy, the promised seed. Blessings.
Come to me here beside the river. Plant yourself beside the river. Each of you, descendant of some past-known traveler, has been paid for. Bought, sold, stolen, arriving on a night there, praying for a dream. Here, root yourself beside me. I am that tree planted by the river, which will not.
We was hanging, choking on trees. Now we hanging, choked on trees. One is with smoke, the other with nooses, feet dangling by leaves. Blood on the root, blood leaves. Blood cock and shoot, watching cuz breathe. His last breath taken, visualize escaping this. Dry ground needs a root to grow, to show us that somewhere a river flows. What we want first, tell the potter, please come and grab us first, and put his hand on us. We abandon him, please don't abandon us. Tell him mold us, and this time we'll be different. If we too dry, then please use some water up out that river, and moisturize in this environment's great for our seeds. Who knew that your hand and living water was all we need? We see that desert's full of snakes and vultures looking back. Now that we've tasted of this river, please don't send us back. We see the fruit that's not produced is beautiful and right. The river and the light from the sun that gave us life. Please uproot me and plant me down.